Hey, Paul, how are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
How are you? I'm a
I'm
little,
good.
little
I
frazzled.
was having an interesting conversation with two or three people the other day, and we
Mhm.
were talking about COVID and
Yeah,
some of the things that really changed our life. And somebody
right,
mentioned this to me, and they're like, the biggest issue with COVID was I was no longer able to travel for business. And I said, oh, is it just?
or
He goes, no, no, no. I don't think you understand. I need to go every 6 to 8 weeks. Otherwise, my wife is like, when are you going to go away? She needs the break. I need the break. I go off. I work. She doesn't want to
right.
come because it's all tech people and nerds and all of that she doesn't want to deal with. So I go off and do my thing and have fun. She gets a break, and then we come back together. Things are renewed.
Right.
So, as part of this episode of Desk to Destination, hey everybody, I'm Stephen Rose, and with me is Paul Thurrott, as
Mhm.
always. I would love your take on this, and if you have seen this as well, heard it
Oh,
from other
Stephen,
people,
you have no idea. Well, no, you do have some idea.
I have
So,
some idea, but yeah,
the
I would like you to share it for those who have no idea.
boy, how much time do we have?
We
So,
got 30 minutes.
oh boy. All right. Even in that one sentence, this friend describes that situation. There's a couple of moments of self-awareness in there. One is his wife said to him, "I need you gone,"
Right,
which is as a human being, is the person that is devoted to you the most in your life is like, listen, we need separation, right?
right.
And then the other one is he's like, yeah, I'm leaving, and I need to go and do that thing because you now are still traveling a lot for work. I spent the better
Yeah,
part of 20 years traveling all the time for work. I had years where I was gone the better part of 30 something weeks out of a
yeah.
year, that
Same
kind of thing.
here.
Right. So it's not as much a part of my life as it was then. However, my realization of this, my awareness, it was not a self-awareness. This came from a coworker who you probably know. You remember Michelle Crockett
Of
from
course. Yeah,
right. So she was my boss for a time, and we've been friends forever. She's wonderful,
yeah.
and we would travel a lot and go to the same trips and things and whatever. And so we were somewhere. I don't remember where, but you dutifully call your wife, make sure everything's okay. You're on, you're on a business trip. You're away. You
Right.
want to make sure, you're checking in. Like, I haven't forgotten that you exist. Whatever that responsibility you feel is. And what I found over the years was that those conversations, which always were the best of intentions, often were awkward and bad, and I
Very
left
short.
feeling
Yeah,
disgruntled,
yeah.
and you get off the phone and it's like, why did I just call her? I mean, I don't know what just happened. It was awful. So I mentioned this to her. I said, look, this is kind of a weird topic, but I said, do you ever experience this thing where you travel like we are now and you feel the need to check in on your husband in her case, and it just doesn't go well? And she's like, I'm just gonna stop you right there. My husband and I have a pact. When I go away for work, we don't talk about anything. If something happens where they have, he has to reach me or vice versa,
Sure.
yes. But we're not checking in every day. We're not doing this thing because it sounds like the right thing to do. But what we discovered was that this is the wrong thing to do. And that's when it's super helpful to hear that someone else has this issue because you feel
Hmm.
weird about it, right? I love this woman. I mean, like,
Yeah.
why, it's not her. I mean, it's like, what's happening here, right? And this is there's two things here. It's like travel is therapy in a way. I mean, it's not the reason you travel for work, especially, right? But it is I call it a side effect or whatever. And
Yeah.
but there's also
It's
this.
you are switching tracks from your daily this is it,
Mhm.
and people have to go places and dinner has
It's
to be planned to, hey,
right.
my day is very structured and set out and I know where I need to be, what I need to do, and yeah,
Yeah.
it changes.
There, so maybe there are three things actually, but there because, and the third will be tied to what I said earlier, but the second one is just finding a balance, right? You, in my case, I was gonna say you, I don't know why I said you, but I would either travel too much or not enough,
Right.
and COVID was an extreme example of not enough. Um, and I never found that balance. There's no right balance, right? The truth is there is no
No.
balance, right? But I have to say, this is very much related to, ADHD or whatever type of issue you might have on whatever the spectrum is that you might be on or whatever it is, where it's a tough thing to either hear your spouse say, look, I
I
love
need a
you,
break.
but I
Right.
need, but I also need you to change,
Right. Well,
right? Either by taking, Adderall or some medication if it's ADHD, or by not being here in this case, right? It's a
yeah.
tough one. Like, you have to kind of you have to get over this a little bit, right? I don't know that it's ego so much as it is just self-worth, or I don't know what to call that. Like it's a
It
tough
is it
thing.
is just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a week where you don't need to worry about me. I don't
Hmm.
need to worry about you. I
Right.
understand that you will take on more responsibility if you have kids or things like that, and it's already hard to get people in different places that. But you're also gonna have a more time to yourself because often after dinner we talk or we do things together. That time is now yours to do whatever you want. The great thing is I'm
Yeah.
going off and I'm experiencing something, so I'm gonna come back and say, "Hey, I saw this. I went here. Here's some cool photos." I we have something new to talk
Yeah.
about, and
Well,
I get to hear about it. But I always tend
so
to call at the worst time,
I mean, it's. I think it's a.
and time
It
changes
might.
make it
It might
worse.
be
Like, yeah,
exactly. It might.
I'm driving the kids to school. I really can't
Right.
talk right now. I'm trying to get out of the
Which is
house. It's
also
9
off-putting,
a.m.
right?
and I'm
So
like,
yeah, you're 2,000 miles away. You call. You
right,
go out of your way to make this call. I can't do this right now. I'm sorry. And then you're sitting on the phone by yourself, like, what just happened?
right,
It's you have to. You kind of have to
yes.
let the ego aside. I don't know what that is, but um,
And by the way,
yeah.
that whole awkward situation was
Mhm.
at 50 cents to a dollar a minute back in the, 10,
Yes, it was.
12 years ago
Yeah, yeah.
when you would call and it would cost like, $100 a nanosecond every time you'd call from Ireland
So,
or wherever you were in the world.
oh my God, yes. So this raises another question, actually, which I'm curious about with you because I'm not really aware of this for you. But one of the things I didn't understand, my wife was dealing with that almost 20 years that I was traveling for work, was that I was going away and experiencing things like you said, and
Yeah.
she was not. She was taking the kids to school, she was shopping, she was cleaning the house, she was doing all that stuff that everyone does,
There
except I'm
there
not doing
there
it. I'm
can be some jealousy involved, and
right.
is the more excited you are about what you saw, the more it could
Yeah,
be
don't
that
come
that
home too
person was left
excited,
out.
But
No.
you
And
by
come home with a gift. I like do that too. Come home with a little something for
yeah,
everybody. "Hey, I was busy, but I thought about you." And it doesn't have to be something
no, I
expensive. It could be something small, but just that I took a few,
right.
I saw this, I thought of you, I'm bringing this back.
But the thing, one of the many tragedies, and listen, for people who had real problems during COVID and still maybe do, right?
Yeah.
So this is a minor issue at best, I know, but was that right before it happened? So the last year, 2 years in there, our kids got old enough that she was able to go on trips with me. So she went to places like Europe, and we went to Miami one year for a show, and we were able to hang out for a couple extra days, just us, and do this stuff. So
Yeah.
today, I don't travel as much for work, but last year I had work trips to like Hawaii and Berlin. She went to both of those, obviously, and Seattle. And this year we're going to Berlin again. So she's coming. We're going to stay a couple extra days. So she's getting to experience this. But she had a good 10 to 15 years of never doing this, and
Right.
maybe silently resenting me slightly because my lifestyle was such that I was traveling around the world and she was not. So do you do you do this? Does your wife join you on any trips at all, or?
No, she doesn't, just because it was too hard with family, kids, all of
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. We also have a lot of pets. We've got,
Right.
a
Right. That's a
dog.
big
We
problem too.
now have
Yeah.
got 4
Mhm.
cats, a 17-year-old cat that won't die because she likes to chew on electrical cables. I'm not
She's
kidding. She
trying.
does. It keeps restarting her heart, I believe, and that's why, like, every time she's chewing on a cable.
It
But
might be the reincarnation of our cat because she swallowed the string from like a roast or whatever, and it went all the
yeah,
way around her intestines. And the doctor was like, "Look, she's never going to make it. And surgery expensive." She did,
there
one
you go.
life off the list.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyhow,
But just
okay,
trying to find somebody who can take care of all those pets. And we have a dog that we have a Malinois, so it requires a lot of exercise. And even
right.
earlier, it was difficult to do. And then as she got older, a lot of it was also she went on a few of these.
Mhm.
And the problem is from the moment I leave the hotel room until the moment I get back, it's all about everybody. And you know how it is. People, "Hi, can I talk to you? I have a question. Can I get a selfie?" And it's all of that. And it's a lot of nerd geek stuff, which my wife goes, I
Yeah,
don't need to
no,
see that. And I think it's also interesting because, and I've seen this with you as well, that some people will come up and when they meet me or they meet you, like, "Oh my God," and da da da. And my wife looks at it like, does this person understand
yeah.
this is the same guy
Do
who
you,
walks around scratching his
yeah,
ass
yeah,
and
right.
partying in
Do
the
you have
hall?
any idea what an idiot he is? I mean, yeah,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So we run into that too, where
Mhm,
she sees it and
mhm.
she's like, and I go, "But you could go off on your own during the day." She's like,
Look,
"I'm still
dude.
going to have to deal with this at some part. And I don't." I'm like,
You know
"Okay."
my wife well enough to know you could just picture this like what and this happened. Well, this particular event was it was Mac OS 10 Tiger. That's how long ago this was. So
Oh, wow.
2004 or something
Yeah.
like that, million years
Yeah.
ago. So they at that time you'd go to the Apple store, stand in line, and you would get your either you paid or you got it for, I think you paid for it like $30 or something, right?
Right.
So there's like 200 people at this line in a mall, and my wife's like, she can't believe this. She's like, "What's going on here?" And she goes and she goes to the shoe shop, and for a little while she goes back. She's like, "What are these?" And she gets fine. She goes, "Hey, this person she doesn't even know." She goes, "What do you do? Why are you here?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm getting Mac OS 10 Tiger." He's like, "Okay, is this going to change your life somehow? Is there something you can't do on your computer today that this is going to enable you to do tonight?" And he's
Right.
like, because he's just like, "I just want the new thing." And she's like, "You people are
Right.
idiots."
I also, I've also
you know,
don't know how to talk to any woman who's not my mother. So you're really making
yeah,
it even more
it's
difficult.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it's like, Stephanie, you're not coming to the Mac events anymore.
No.
I think we're done with that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But I think psychologically, especially as your kids get a little older, yes, it's great because it's just one thing where you go, I
Mhm,
don't, my wife will say, I don't need to worry about what I'm getting for dinner. Well,
right.
who else is giving? I can just go off, do my
It's
thing,
a nice break
relax,
for her
enjoy.
too.
It is
Yeah,
a nice
yeah,
break. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. When I'm
yeah.
gone for 10, 12 days, I miss everybody and want to catch up
That's right.
and want to see. I do check in like once a day just to go, hi, I'm alive. Everything's good.
Mhm.
Got a busy day, talk at some point, and maybe we will, maybe we won't that day, but I do check in, and it's nothing more than that. Hey, how you doing? Everything okay at home? Yep, good. I'm off to go do this. Got a busy day. Great. Boom.
Like,
But I got to
I can
time it right.
right. So we've had this place in Mexico now for 4 years, I guess, right? So
Yeah.
pandemic happens, we're stuck in a house together. The kids came back for a big chunk of it. It was great. The dog had the greatest year of her life because multiple walks, multiple.
Everybody
She
was
just
home. Sure.
so much attention. It was awesome. This is a big house, but now we live in a small place in Pennsylvania. Now this place is tiny. It's the size of a closet. And now we're stuck in the 750 square foot, if I'm lucky, apartment. And we're on top of each other like all the time. So
Right.
we're here for 4 months at a time. It's the opposite of, me going away a lot. Like now it's just me on top of her all the time. And it's like,
Right.
look, I don't know if you've heard this from people. It's vague. No, not vaguely. It's incredibly insulting how many times someone has said to me, and this could be someone I know really well or just met, and they're like, "Man, your wife must be a saint." And it's like, yikes. Like,
Yes,
okay.
she is. Stephanie
And
is. Yes.
it is, but but she could throw it back, like she could, she pushes back. Like, you don't see that. You see me,
Right.
but so now it's like we in some ways over the past couple of years, we've fought more than we ever have because we're together too much.
Sure.
We're too close together too much.
Right.
And so you do the little things. And you kind of alluded to this earlier where even if it's something simple like, okay, we're eating dinner and it's like, we'll get together again at 8 and we'll watch TV maybe, but for the next 2 hours,
Right.
it's me time and we're going to, do our own things. Or, she goes to the gym or Pilates or whatever it is. And I'll go for a walk or something or whatever it
Right.
is. Like we try to split it up. But, this year, just coincidentally, was kind of lucky because she had her college roommate who she's still friends with was going to go on this cruise with a group of people that we, half know, and she knows a little bit better than I do. But someone had to cancel for some medical reason, and she asked Stephanie if she'd go on this cruise. It was not quite 2 weeks, but like 12 days, big time, in Europe, right?
Yeah.
And she comes to me and she's like, "Look, I know this is crazy," and I'm like, "No, go, just go, please go." And it was great for both of us. And you're right, absence makes the heart grow fond of that stuff. And look, she's in Europe, she's on a cruise most of the time. It's hard. You can't text normally. It's hard,
No.
whatever. So it's fine because we didn't talk. We only talked on the phone maybe once or twice, but we texted not quite every day, probably, mostly or whatever. And it was fine. Right. And
Yeah.
I honestly, I feel like that was super healthy for both of us,
It
to have that.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
One of the things, and I've said this many times, and I learned this later. My last evening with Chris Jackson, we were at Ready, which is the internal Microsoft event that prepares everybody for the next fiscal year.
Mhm.
We were there, and they always do a concert at the end. And they've had some great concerts. I've seen Lenny Kravitz. I've
Yeah.
seen Black Eyed Peas. They had a lot.
Right.
But the problem is it's a 40-minute ride out to the race grounds where they hold this and another 40 minutes back. It's
Mhm.
several thousand people. It's all sweaty. It's hot. It's Vegas. They always do it in July when it's cheap to go.
Because it's cheap. Exactly.
Right. And it was going to be Bruno Mars that night. I'm not a huge Bruno Mars fan. Chris is not either. He looked at me and he said, "Hey, want to just go grab dinner, have a quiet evening and hang out?" And I said, "I would love to." And
Yeah.
we had dessert first. We then went out, we had dinner, we took a long walk. He admitted to me that, and Chris is someone I so admire because his knowledge of security was so deep and he was great at connecting with people. And he told me he was jealous of me and the way I was able to build communities and people. It was just a really great evening. And I realized after that, I'm like, I need to do less, but do it better. If I'm going to go to a concert, go to only 2 or
That's
3.
an awesome, by the way, that's a really good way to say that. I do less, but do it better.
Do it less, but do it better. Go instead of going to a bunch of stuff, go to 3 concerts, but get the best seats that you can get. If you're going to go, on vacation, do only 1 that year, but really do stay at a great hotel.
Did you call my son several years ago because he threw something back in my face that's very familiar to this, which was we had gone to the Eiffel Tower one time and had dinner in the really fancy restaurant, and everyone had to dress up, and he's like, I don't understand why we're doing this. And I'm like, Mark, this is like a once in a lifetime experience,
Right.
So a year or 2 later, we're at a Red Sox game. We get regular seats, whatever it is. And Mark goes, we should get seats behind the umpire sometimes.
Right.
Be up close. And I'm like, oh, Mark, I don't think you understand how expensive those seats are. And he goes, Dad, it's a once in a lifetime experience. I was like, okay, I appreciate that you were paying attention. But also thank you for throwing my words back in my face.
Yeah.
But
and I've done this for a lot of things, and I've told to people. And part of that was also realizing shortly after that, and this is about 10 years ago, so I was 50, that I was not spending time with, I only have a few very good friends. You are one of them. I have a few others, but I could count them on less than 2 hands, the people that I'm close with. And basically said, you know what? I need to, at least once a year, try to see one of these people and spend a long weekend with them. You and I and Stephanie, we did it in DC, did it again in Mexico. My buddy Daniel Egan, we went to Big Smoke in Vegas for the big Scotch whiskey and cigar convention. Things along that line. My buddy Tony is coming out because Rush is doing their 50th anniversary tour, where I'm going to go, and they're doing different sets. So I have one night I'm going by myself. He gets into town and we're going to go together. And we went to the last one, our 40. So it's doing these things and something to look forward to. You're going to pay extra, but you're paying for that experience. And it's something you won't forget. So do less, do it better. It will make it more memorable and have deeper meaning.
Sometimes people try to truncate terms down to make them pithy, and they lose their meaning. Like less is more, or you do more with less. It doesn't mean anything. But what you said means a lot. Like that to me really resonates, because that's correct. Like it's really about thinking more smarter. Thinking smart, thinking smarter about
SMRT. I am smart.
But I mean, focusing on what's important and yeah, that's good. That's really
and enjoying the moment, and you will, because you've been looking forward to it. You've set that time aside. You've planned for it, and no matter what that is, and doing that and making sure. I am also really good about. I try to set time to call people. When I was on campus this week, I was able to get together with a good friend of mine I hadn't seen in a long time. My friend Tim Bakey, who you've met once or twice at Microsoft. He led some of the Surface events and things like that for the EBCs. And it was just great to get together and see him. So being purposeful around that, I look at my time as like money. I'm going to spend it on things that give me pleasure, but I don't have a lot to waste. So if you're going to do it again.
Yeah, a year ago, April, May, I guess, when I was in Seattle for Build, I made a point of seeing you, obviously. Mike Nash, this group of people. And I've told you the story already because this is so wonderful. And you just happen to be a weird part of it. But I have this list. I want to see this. That's
the story of my life, being a weird part of something. So,
well, it's but I remember it so vividly because, and you were there. So it was just, you and I went out, we got back to my hotel, you got your car, you get the convertible. We're kind of saying goodbye, whatever. My phone buzzes and it's the last guy I wanted to see. I'm going home tomorrow morning.
Right. It was Kyle, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm sorry. He's like, sorry about this week. It's been really hectic. I'm in the bar, blah, whatever the name of it was. And I'm like, and I looked up away. And on the side of the hotel building, it had the name of the bar. And I was like, oh my God, I just ran the rack. And it was just excellent.
It's very satisfying. Yeah.
Oh, it was excellent. Yeah.
And it is so much. Even if you only get 10, 15 minutes to spend with that person. I had a friend who was doing a layover from London. I'm like, I'll come to the airport and meet you. Yes. We hung out for 40 minutes. And it's like, I can't believe you drove all this. I'm like, it was just a chance to see you in person. It means something.
This is not worth a show, but there is something too. And you must have experienced, you just did it. So you must have experienced it then, where you go to the airport, but you're not traveling. And the airport is kind of fun when you're not going anywhere. you're
I can't.
meeting some
Yeah.
like you did. Like I met Michelle and some of the other people I worked with one time in Boston at the airport. And going to the airport and not having to fly is like, oh, this place is actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like, and you have a different attitude
You're
about
not
it
in a
when you do
rush trying to run
it.
through it. No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
And you know what? People remember it too. So in addition to you going away and spending time away, which is great, good for your relationship. I've not found one where it's been not
Right.
good in general. It is also thinking about where you're going. Is there someone you can see or something that you can do? Go in a day or two early and do that,
Right.
because those are those
Mhm.
great moments. And like I said, the three of us in DC was one of those that just worked
That's the
out
best.
beautifully, and it was
And
so much fun.
I'm not kidding. With 24 hours ago or less, we have this smart screen in the kitchen, and that picture of you and me and Stephanie soaked
Oh
to the
God,
bone
yeah.
came up with, it was like a selfie with the three of us all matted down like rats. And I was just, you see that and you're like, you just you can't
You
help it. You
remember
just
that
say,
moment. You go
like,
back to that moment. Like I
instant,
was, yeah,
it's like you're
soaked to the
right
bone,
there,
but we were laughing our ass off
just having
because
a great
Paul's
time.
like, "Hey, we should have a little walk after dinner. I think it's gonna rain." Nah, it'll be fine.
Nah, it's
It's
gonna be
all
fine.
good. And it was misty, and then of course we get equilaterally distant from everything, and the
Right.
sky opened up and drenched us. I
It
can't
was
remember a time
almost a hurricane. I've
was
never seen anything. It just happened
crazy. Yeah, the
suddenly. Yeah.
streets emptied. I do have a beautiful picture looking at the Capitol with completely empty, wet street, very,
Oh yeah.
Ridley Scott-esque
Mhm.
look. But yeah, and what are you gonna do? We just I couldn't even see out of my glasses. It was
Yes,
so
that's
rainy,
right.
and we were soaked to the bone. But it was
Yep.
just funny. We're like, okay, there you go. So,
That's so weird.
all right, so not quite travel, but definitely along those lines,
Well, no,
and not a tip or trick,
but
yes.
travel as therapy, and it doesn't have to be travel.
Yes,
And you
correct.
actually brought this up. I'm not sure I would have thought of this, but the little breaks matter too, and that's where it's not exactly travel, right? But this stuff matters. I mean,
It does.
if the people in your life matter enough to you, you should give them the gift of it's
The
such
gift
a
of
weird
you being
of you
gone
being
for a
gone.
bit,
I know it's
yes.
so weird to say that out loud, but I mean,
It is.
you know,
Yeah, it's good mentally, physically, and
mhm,
emotionally for everybody involved. And like I said, you have something new to talk about, because if you do everything together, it really limits what you can talk about, because neither of you have had outside experiences to bring in and come share to that. So,
right, right,
um, if you have a loved one who's like, I want to go with, or they think when you go to a conference that you're just having fun 24/7. I'm like, I got to speak.
oh
I
boy,
have being inundated by
yeah,
people at 9 o'clock. I had a thing with my coworkers where I'd say, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And that was my cue for I'm going back up to my room, because
you
I
have
need
to
alone time to
like just tune
reset for
down.
the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even, I went from Mexico City to Vegas on a Tuesday and flew back on a Thursday. That was nonstop stress the whole time. We went to a great steak restaurant.
Right.
I saw some
Yeah,
people I
there
really
was
did
some
want to see,
fun to be had, but it's
but
still, yeah,
it was still like, and that's what that's like. And your trips you go on are usually longer than that.
yeah,
And there were more of them. So it's stressful.
it is. And unless you're taking a weekend after, even a weekend before is rough, because you're still thinking, I got to talk. How's my deck? Da, da, da. But taking a weekend after is great, because then I can go see the city on my own terms, go to museums, which I love to do all of that, take lots of pictures, and then come back rested. And I figure if I'm flying on, my own time, not company
Mhm.
time, they can give me that Monday to come back type of thing. But yeah, it has made it. But she brought up like, hey, over COVID, absolutely. I'm like, you need to go. I need a break from you. And yeah,
Right.
being in close quarters, exactly. So
Yeah.
share this episode with a loved one, and you know have that conversation. I think it's worth it.
Yeah. I like that the person you were talking about at the very beginning apparently came to this somehow on his own.
Yeah,
I'm not that smart. Someone had to explain this to me, and I was like, right.
I'm
No, you
like,
can
yeah,
see it.
no, absolutely.
So
So, and you know what? Find time for the people in your life that are important, that you care about,
mhm,
especially the ones that you don't live near, that you don't see often. Set up
right.
a time to FaceTime with them, give them a call, try to find a way to get together or plan a weekend somewhere.
Right.
Um, Time is short. And as I get older, I tend to think, as Jean Luc Picard said, there are more days behind me than ahead of me. And it's important to make time for the people that you care about and that are important in your life. My daughter and I, we went last year to go see my good friend Tony Kynan get married because he's been a great friend. Here's a guy who took an Uber from downtown Seattle all the way out to Woodinville to go see my daughter for 15, 20 minutes and just say hi, and then went all the way back. I'm like, probably spent $150, but that impact is huge, and it means a lot for people. When I was in my last trip to Rhode Island, I went in early, saw a good friend of mine lives up in Connecticut. We spent the weekend together. It's important. So think about that. Think about people you haven't seen and doing that. And you know what? I don't believe in regrets. I believe I made the best decision at the time that I was capable of making. And even though I might do it differently, I go, doesn't make a difference. At that time, that's how I did it. You don't want to have those regrets. Like, I should have done this, seen more time, done that.
I definitely have regrets, but that's a very healthy way
if
to
you
look at
made the best decision at that moment that you could make based on the information you had, you can't have a regret about it. You may have different hindsight feelings and go, oh, I wish I would have done that differently, but I don't believe in regret because I thought it through, I did it, and that's all I could do at that time.
And
but if you
you could obsess over it. I mean,
you can. But then later, if you do things that will help to make up for that, or later, it balances all that out. So that's it. All right. With that, there you go. I miss you. I haven't physically seen you.
I know. I was just thinking about. I will see you in Providence. This will happen at some point.
Yes, I'm for my new. I've taken a new role as CTO for Envision Technology Associates. They are out of Rhode Island. Loving it. Great job. I go out every 4 to 6 weeks to spend a week with my team, and I try to go out early to see friends or just chill. So yes, I will be on the East Coast, and we can meet at Boston or whatever. And for any of you that are watching this, if you live in the Boston, Rhode Island area, let me know. Love to have lunch with you one day or dinner.
Yeah.
So. And we'll meet at Dunkin' Donuts because, there's only one in that whole area.
Yeah.
So. I literally, and I was saying this to Paul earlier, I have stood at a Dunkin' Donuts drinking coffee and looked across the street and there was another Dunkin' Donuts. Like, you could literally just walk between them back and forth and it would be never ending.
It's a different world. Their slogan was, or maybe still is, America runs on Dunkin' or whatever. I'm not sure about that, but Boston definitely does.
Yeah, Boston, Rhode Island, that whole area does.
Yeah.
And I do like their little mini hash browns. I dig those. Coffee, little mini hash browns. I'm a happy guy because there are no Dunkin' Donuts on the West Coast. There's and I grew up with them in Chicago when it was just donuts and the coffee that came in the orange pot and the black pot, decaf, non-decaf. That was it. There was no mochaccino latte, any of that stuff.
I could do
Coffee,
an oral history
sugar.
I could describe the entire history of Dunkin' Donuts to you right now if you wanted. There's a whole story there.
Time to make the donuts, and that's all. They didn't have sandwiches, any of that stuff. They just had a fat guy with a mustache who would wake up in the middle of the night to make fresh donuts for everybody. That was it.
That's right.
So, on that note, always great to see all of you. For Destination, I am Stephen Rose, and with me is my very good friend and co-host,
Paul Threat. Thank you, man. This was great.
Thank you.
I'm going to go hug my wife when we're done.
If I were there, I would hug you. So, and something I miss doing. I do enjoy hugging Paul.
I also have good pictures of that.
We have
that come up on the screen, Yeah.
Between that and your pork lightsaber, greatest thing ever.
Exactly.
And we'll let everybody just ruminate on that one as we say goodbye.
Yep.
I might put a picture of that up just before we fade out. So
nice.
Wait a minute and I'll show you the pork lightsaber. See ya, everyone. Have a good one.